We are at episode 6 of the Boom Racing BRX02 Series 388 build, and we are on page 28. Stick with us, check this out. All right, so we're on page 28 and 29, and from here we're gonna need a whole bunch of hardware. Anti-wrap bars, nylon rod ends, leaf retainers, brass washers, pivot balls. And then on page 29, we're gonna need bag C, which is labeled leaf springs, so bag C. So up here, we have bag C, leaf springs. So I'm gonna go get all this stuff together and out and on the table and ready to install. And hopefully get this thing close to finished. We're getting there, it's close. Something I noticed when I was getting all the parts ready on pages 28 and 29. So most of your parts, or all of your parts on 28, are gonna be in the big bag labeled leaf springs. That's gonna have your anti-wrap and all those parts, okay? And then your nylon rod ends. So you need 4 of them in here, 2 of each. And there's part numbers, right? One is 18.5 millimeters, the other one's 21.8. And if you're confused about which one's which, first of all, they're scale 1-to-1. So if you take this and hold it up to the page, it'll line up. But another cool thing is the part numbers end in numeric or alphabetic. So this is the 18.5 ends in A. Well, stamped on here is an A. And the 21.8 ends in a B. And if you look on here, there's a B. So very cool, very organized as usual. Very easy to find my parts, find the hardware and everything that I need. So now that I got all the parts for the leaf spring bag, I'm gonna go and lay out all the parts I need in bag C, get the hardware set out and in front of me, so that way I have everything I need and I can start assembling page 29 in the time lapse. As a reminder, what I do when I'm done bringing out, here, let's move the camera, all the hardware onto the table, I put all the extra hardware that I haven't used on these pages yet back in the bag they came out of. So all this in bag C is not called for on pages 28 or 29. So back in the bag, back up with the other bags, so that way in the future, when it calls for bag C, it's all together and it's ready. So I'm gonna start the time lapse now, start building this thing up. Yes. Okay, so this is where we're at. This is page 29 complete. We have our front leaf spring retainers. We have our front and rear shackles in. We have our anti-wraps in. And it is looking good. It's looking like it's almost ready to accept some leaf springs. So let's move on to page 30 and see what's on there. We're on page 30 now. So this is where we go back to that bag C that I was saying. Bag C, leaf springs. We need 2 M3x12s and 8 O-rings. So this brings me back to my point earlier of you're gonna need stuff out of the bags later, keep it organized. So we're gonna go build bag 30, or I'm sorry, page 30, not bag 30. It's bag C, page 30. Before we move on to shocks in the next episode. So that way this is all done. All right, so let's do the time lapse of that, get this moving. All right, so I forgot to start the time lapse, but all we're doing is taking the brass bushings, the rubber grommets, and putting them on the anti-wrap bars. So that's it, 1 washer on each side. They just slide right in. Now, I did run into a little bit of an issue, and I'm still working out because I don't want to mess this up. But this one does not want to go in. They're all the same, and this one is being a little tight. So I'll let you know what happens when I come back, because I want to figure this out. With most things, we're always going to come across a couple of issues. This one was not a big deal. It did need a little bit of help getting in, but I did get it in. It needed a little persuasion. It looked like the machining was off just a little bit. Not a big deal. So now I'm gonna go and get these installed, and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, and there they are, in and ready to go. So it looks like we are ready to move on to our shocks. So that is going to be page 31. 31 is gonna be our shocks. That is gonna be the next episode. And I think we are one step closer to getting this thing done. Stick with us. Next episode. See you later. Peace.